Dominic, tomorrow we're taking this show to Titletown, baby. We're going on the road to Green Bay, Wisconsin, WGBW. That is our Fox Valley flagship, Dom. And we're going to broadcast live from the downtown studios. And what's the occasion? It's Friday night, and we're on the city deck. And apparently there's going to be some yacht rock going on the city deck tomorrow night.
It's that time of year, man. You can't get away from it.
I'm not sure if it's yacht rock, but there will be live music on the deck on Friday night. And tomorrow we're joined live in the WGBW studios by our pal, Dr. Harvey K.
Nice.
Professor Emeritus, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. And also, Dom, a couple of local heroes, John Mino and the former mayor, Jim Schmidt, former mayor of Green Bay, Jim Schmidt. Well, they got their own little fine morning product playing out in the Fox Valley, the mayor and Mino, each morning, 6 to 8 a.m. So tomorrow, I'll be on the road by 6, probably earlier, have to be, so I can appear in the Green Bay studios on their fine morning product.
Oh, nice. Okay, I got you.
At 7:30 a.m. So tune in, and you can always do that on the Civic Media app. That's how the Patriots listen. Get the Civic Media app, turn on WGBW, and Crudy will be there representing.
Yeah, I will not be there in Green Bay at 7:30 in the morning.
You won't be there with me? I thought.
No, man, I get there for our show. I'll get there later, man. But I have confidence, Crudy. I've seen you on C-SPAN. Hell, I've seen you on Fox. I think you'll do fine with.
You didn't see me on C-SPAN? You saw like a video graphic image of me.
There was a picture of you from the gubernatorial days.
I'm not a morning host kind of guy.
No.
Morning's not my strong suit, but I'll do my best to be awake. 90 minutes drive. I'm cutting the distance. I'm going halfway up tonight. So I can sneak in tomorrow. Just sun's up by 6, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm often out of bed by 6, and then I go snuggle back into bed. Mrs. Crudy and all that, got to make sure she's warm. Dom, the governor of the state of Wisconsin, a man after my own heart, is out trolling the Republicans today. Tony's trolling. Tony, the troller Evers. 3-term Tony?
3-term Tony. I don't know if he's got that kind of motivation, but wow, you got to appreciate this. Yesterday, Governor Tony Evers, at the Gov Evers Twitter page, he retweeted an article from the Journal Sentinel. We read it yesterday about him using his veto powers to extend public schools and financing and all that for 400 years. But the picture is him taking a sip out of his coffee cup. He just
cup of tea.
He's just trolling these guys, man. So I found it pretty amusing. And the way that Republicans are losing their frickin' minds today is almost worth it. Well,
here's one modest change I would have made. I would have extended the pinky.
Oh, yeah.
Or in lieu thereof, another one of my fingers as part of the proper troll, the visual image. I would have taken it just a little further, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, that's why he's governor and you're not.
Is that the only reason why?
Just one of many, perhaps.
I'm also not Speaker of Wisconsin's Assembly, and he's out whining loudly today. Robin Voss, he's making vows, Dom. He vows to move to restore the tax cut after Tony Evers' veto. Evers promises another veto.
So let's sit here and spin our wheels, Robin Voss. Way to spend quality time working for the people.
Assembly Speaker Robin Voss is vowing, Dom. Angry people vow. I vow if I... Angry people.
Don't people, lovely people who are in love get married and take vows? Isn't that a vow? You.
Assembly Speaker Robin Voss is vowing to put forward a new bill to cut income taxes after Governor Tony Evers vetoed Republican lawmakers' tax plan from the next 2-year state budget. Voss, I don't know if you know this, Don, but he's a Republican from Rochester.
Oh,
that's down in sort of the Mount Pleasant, the WRJN Racine area. And in an interview on Whitey Righty Talk Radio down the dial in Milwaukee, He said that Republican lawmakers are going to stand up and fight. They're going to fight Evers' vetoes that hollowed out the $3.5 billion plan to cut income taxes by introducing a separate bill that will seek to achieve the same goal. If you fail once, try the exact same plan again.
What's the definition of insanity again?
Well, here's the quote. We're not going to lay down. That's the Robin Voss quote. When asked by the righty-whitey radio host Jay Weber whether GOP lawmakers plan to take up the bill later this summer that would reintroduce the tax cuts Evers vetoed, Voss said, that's exactly what we're looking to do. Exactly. I bet he didn't have the manly tone like that, though. We want to make sure that people of Wisconsin remember who's on their side and who's not. Who's on their side? Oh, if I think of anything, Robin Voss, who's on my side in this world?
Robin Voss. They're every
Robin
step of the way. I mean, you know, when I was walking on the beach and all of a sudden there was just two set of footsteps and it was me and it says, Robin Voss, where were you? He said, I was there. I was the one carrying you. That's who I rely on, is Robin Voss. Curdy Evers told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel to stop in Wausau. He would not support new legislation that seeks the same reductions. No. Evers said when asked if he would sign a bill that just addressed the second highest tax rate, which cover middle-class families. And let me just jump in here. Yes, it covers middle-class families, but it goes from what? 40-some thousand up to 400,000 per family.
And your objection is that that's too broad, but that's not Tony Evers' fault. Is he supposed to recraft the entire tax system? I know Republicans wanted to, but Tony put out his proposal, a 10% tax cut for middle-class families. To get to that number, there would have to be a tax cut from this bracket, this very broad $36,000 to $400,000 bracket, because that's where all the middle-class families live in this state. And below that threshold, they got a tax cut.
Do you really think as a family, as two earners getting what, $405,550 a year, that's middle class? Do you think anyone earning $36,000 a year thinks that they are in the same, boat as someone making $200,000 a year, with a couple making $400,000? That's entirely different, man.
Well, then reset the tax brackets. But if you want to extend a middle class tax break in the state of Wisconsin under the current tax codes, you got a very broad middle class bracket. There is another bracket above $405,550 per annum. And I can totally understand why Tony Evers said they should not get a 15 or a 17% reduction. But how about the 10% you promised, Tony? If Republicans ran a clean bill out, meeting the expectations that Tony Evers set forth, 10% middle class tax reduction, should Tony veto that?
They're not going to go for it. They're going to, Republicans. We'll wait and see what the Republicans put forth, but I would imagine the Republicans are going to do the same damn thing they just did. So if they put forth a 10% reduction for that, I don't know, man. I think anyway, if you were making $200,000 a year yourself and your spouse is making $200,000 a year, I just don't see how that.
But if you're making 18, that person, those spouse is making 18,
qualifies as somehow a middle class tax cut. So no, maybe
because everybody from 36 grand up.
Yeah, I got it. I understand. I understand how brackets work, Rudy, and it's BS. I mean, if you're, what, 30 grand to 80 to 90 grand, maybe I would consider more middle class. If you're making over $150,000 as a married couple, I think that's getting beyond middle class, quote unquote. What's the average salary here in the state of Wisconsin?
$56,000. Well, let me take that back. I saw that stat somewhere else. The average American worker makes $56,800 a year, something like that. They think, to be solid in their financial outlooks, they need to make $233,000 a year, about 4 times what they currently make.
Yeah.
The average.
I'd feel a whole lot more comfortable if I was making 4 times what I currently make. According to
to be really Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Average salary in Wisconsin, $50,120, which comes down to about $24.10 an hour.
One more quote from Robin Voss. Voss on Thursday called the move the Evers veto an unprecedented, brand new way to screw the taxpayer by using this line item veto authority that was never imagined by a previous governor and certainly wouldn't be by anybody who thinks there is a fair process in Wisconsin.
Says the guy who orchestrated the biggest political gerrymander in United States history. Yeah, like I'm going to believe anything or worry about anything that guy says.
Tony's not being fair. You see the tweet?
Come on, man. I mean, Thompson, Walker, all the governors have used this super powerful veto authority, not just Evers.
Yeah, but he did it better. Come back, more Devil's Advocates. A Yacht Rock Thursday edition. Is there Yacht Rock? They seem contradictory words.
In 1992, I moved to Madison to pursue a PhD at UW, and I started a residential remodeling company called Chad's Carpentry. I was eager to make a difference, to change the world, and I soon realized that our remodeling company was a great place to start. We pride ourselves on understanding how houses work so that your home improvement project actually improves your home, and we love what we do. To learn more, go to chatsdesignbuild.com, and thank you, Madison, for 30 great years.
Rain or shine, it's a breeze getting an e-bike from Crazy Lenny's.
Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has the largest in-store display of models in a rainbow of colors. No high pressure, up to 50% off.
Brighten your day with an e-bike from Crazy Lenny's.
The Maggie Daun Show.
Wisconsin's manner of funding local government is nearly singular in the country. That cheese stands alone, if you will. It hasn't been working in Milwaukee. It hasn't been working in Rhinelander. It hasn't been working in La Crosse, Green Bay, Madison, Kenosha, Racine. I don't care what you pick. It ain't working.
The Maggie Daun Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Thank you for listening to your local Civic Media radio station on air. Now join us anytime by finding and following our Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram pages. You'll also find social media links for your favorite shows and hosts on our website, civicmedia.us.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. Mainly clear skies tonight with the low of 54. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. High of 80 tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Chance for scattered storms, lows around 59. Highs level off around 79 Saturday with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. 85, mainly clear Sunday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 77 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. Beginning at 6, Up North News. Then at 8, The Stephanie Miller Show. On Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
When they go low, we get high. The Devil's Advocates.
Back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's a Yacht Rock Thursday. You can join us on the lines at 844-967-2789.
Dom, we welcome in the Milwaukee Brewers fans. Victory over the Cubbies, 6-5.
Oh,
Brewers win. Brewers win. Hang that L up in Wrigley.
But they split the series, though, right? That was a 2-2.
Buddy, this was a great series.
Yeah.
The Milwaukee Brewers win a 6-5 final. The Cubs tied it up with 2 runs in the 8th.
Oh.
And then homer by Victor Caratini in the bottom of the 8th. Brewers win 6-5. Another comeback win.
Well done, Brew Crew.
The game the other night ended with a tag out at home plate.
It's been a brutal couple of days.
It has been a brutal couple days, and
entertaining. That's sports. It's supposed to be like that, you know.
You know what my Facebook moniker is, the thing at the top of my Facebook page. Jesus hates the Cubs.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, suck it, Cubbies.
And Kuchka, 844-967-2789.
Tom, after you leave because you're ducking out early going to a yacht rock concert, I'm giving away some free Brewers tickets.
Oh,
Happier happy hour. Good ones, PNC, club seats, the good seats behind home plate for this Saturday's game. So if you want some tickets, got to stick around till hour 2. But now we got some time for our audience right now. We should take a little dip in the pool. Again, 844-967-2789. Jack from Merrimack. How you doing, Jack?
Hey, Jack.
Oh, yes, DGT. And I love the fact that since the voters can't give the arrogant Republican legislators any consequences because they're so gerrymandered, I love the fact that at least Governor Evers has given them a few consequences. Had I been he, I would have started out with a veto, line item veto of the welfare for private schools program that they gave about 10 times as much money to it they did public schools. As the saying goes, you can't fix a problem, and we do have problems with our public schools. You can't fix the problem by throwing money at it, but you also can't fix it by taking money away from it.
Jack, what do you think? What do you think of Evers' remedy, though? This sleight of hand, this line item veto that has been much bemoaned by the right. And when you set funding up for the next 405 years or something of that sort, Jack, I like the Tony trolling Twitter, and I like all that stuff. But at the end of the day, do they make a fair complaint? I mean, this is not the intent of the line item veto, is it? To set up funding for 400 years?
Well, I don't know. Walker seemed to pull some pretty fast tricks with the line item veto. And as I recall, a few other governors have done little things like cross out letters and to make new words and things like that. So I think it's entirely fair. Now, is it reasonable? Well, is what the Republicans doing reasonable in terms of cutting funding for things like education, particularly public schools, and then putting the money into private schools, but also the UW system and some of the other crazy things that they've done. I mean, it's sort of sticking your finger in their eye, which I think they deserve.
I don't disagree with you. But Jack, of course, we all got to live together in this state, and there will be other important pieces of legislation that come down the pike. Question mark? I don't know. Anything else getting done during this legislative session?
Oh, just more tax cuts. Let me throw this one out there, Curdy, just briefly. Molly Beck, Jesse OPP, poignant at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, talking about how can Evers do this? A little history as they lay out for us. Until Evers' budget action on Wednesday, governors had used vetoes to increase state spending above levels set by lawmakers 31 times since 1991 and increase bonding levels 7 times during that time, according to analysis by the Legislative Reference Bureau done in 2020. Former Republican Governor Scott Walker also used his office's veto authority to extend one measure in the 2017-2019 state budget to last indefinitely, known as the 1,000-year veto. That year, Walker used partial vetoes to turn the deadline to end a program allowing school districts to raise revenue limits for energy-efficient projects from 2018 to 3018. 3018. In another veto in the same budget, Walker delayed the start of a program from 2078 to 2078 from 2018. So just a couple of other examples of how other governors, Republicans, specifically Scott Walker, have used this very powerful veto authority.
So when Robin Voss shakes a fist at Tony Evers, he said in response, I learned it from you, Wanker. I learned it by watching you. Tom from West Dallas. Welcome, Tom. What do you got for us?
Hi, Tom.
Hey, guys. I was at the game on July 4th, and it was so cool. We were saying anyways, the Cub fans and us Brewer fans came together in that moment. which was cool.
Singing God Bless America?
We're all together. Yes. And I was like, because I've been waiting on the phone a little bit. I kind of got lost track in my mind. You know how it is.
I do,
you
sir.
gotta be on
Yeah, we do.
It's hard. You guys do a good job, believe me, in that. And with that said, but it was so great to see that everybody was together.
Well, that was a great feeling. You gotta love sports for that reason. Not fond of the song, but I appreciate people coming together.
I was at the Armed Forces Boxing Championship when a drill sergeant down on Lakeland Air Force Base sang "Proud to be an American," and it was a bunch of crying grown men hugging each other, hugging it out, bro. Come back, more Devils. We'll hug it out with some yacht rock.
And I didn't know that we were doing free weed either. That's breathtaking.
I learned it by watching you.
4 to 6, the Devils.
Well done, well done.
Then at 6, the Maggie Daun Show on Mad Radio 92.7
ABC News,
WMDX.
I'm Rena Roy. The Biden administration has decided to send cluster munitions to Ukraine to help defend against Russian attacks. ABC's Martha Raddatz is in Ukraine and met with Ukraine's President Zelensky in Kyiv. He says they're making progress in the counteroffensive, but will continue to push for fighter jets from the U.S. and allies.
What is your assessment of how the counteroffensive is going right now?
We all want to do it faster, the president told me. Every day means new losses.
Today, Russian airstrikes killed 5 people in Lviv in western Ukraine. In Miami federal court, Walt Nauta, the aide to former President Trump, entered a not guilty plea to charges related to the special counsel's case over Trump's handling of classified documents. Nauta is accused of helping hide boxes of classified material. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, launched its version of Twitter last night called Threads. This is ABC News.
Your home for local news, weather, and sports across the airwaves and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know in the Madison area. Fireworks kept Madison firefighters on their toes on the 4th of July. Crews were called to several fires around the city throughout the day and night. Investigators say at least 7 fires showed clear evidence that fireworks were to blame. A fire department spokesperson says a few other fires might have been caused by fireworks, but they couldn't be sure. Madison fire officials aren't saying if anyone was hurt. They're having a hard time getting one of Madison's favorite traditions off the ground this year. Rainy weather postponed last night's concerts on the square. That's after dangerous levels of air pollution forced last week's schedule opener to be rescheduled. Forecasters say conditions look good for the show to go on tonight. When the music finally starts, it will be the kickoff to Concerts on the Square's 40th season. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Hey, Darcy, I just saw the perfect house. Can you help me write an offer on it?
I'd be happy to, Brian. Did you see it at an open house?
No, I just called the sign and had the agent show it to me. I didn't want to bug you.
Brian, how many times have you heard me say don't call the sign?
All of them?
You called the agent working for the seller, and once you see the property with that agent, I'm no longer free to write an offer on it.
So...
You need to hire us from the beginning, help you find the right home, negotiate on your behalf, and protect your interests all the way through the process, and it shouldn't cost you a dime.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, and they're honest. Find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Attention, Wisconsin veterans.
Hello, I'm Tony Evers, the governor of Wisconsin. If you are veterans struggling to pay for rent, utilities, or other life-sustaining services, I want you to know that the Veterans Rental Assistance Program is here to help. You have already made a most noble sacrifice. You shouldn't have to continue doing so. We are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. It's never easy to ask for assistance, but rest assured, we're here to help. You've always been there for us. We want you to know that we're here for you. Call 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727. or visit vrapwi.com. On behalf of the state of Wisconsin, thank you.
Up North News Radio with Pat Kreitlow, Wisconsin's home for daily conversations about the state's latest headlines and stories. Weekday mornings from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, a yacht rockin' Thursday edition. I'm ducking out early. That means I'm going to need your help in hour number 2. Hell, through the entire program. Dom barely even shows up.
Come on.
But you need to show up at 844-967-2789 also. Saving them to the happier happy hour, Dom, but giving away some Brewer tickets to this weekend. Brewers off a big win today, and some on the text line were texting us out, Dom. If you get the new app, texting us is super easy. Jeff says, no pressure, but be great today, boys. No pressure.
Oh, I mean,
always
it
great,
comes naturally,
Jeff.
baby.
That part's easy. Angie warns us, heads up, cops all over Stoughton Road in Madison. Thought you could warn your listeners. Well, I should have told them 20 minutes ago. Hope they didn't get pulled over already. Another 608 listener texting out, love, all caps. Tony's stepping up the jackassery. It's about time.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Dems playing the game in this state. Tony's playing the game, at least the trolling game. Another texter from the 414 points out the hero of today's game, the Brewer game, 165. Caratini is an ex-Cub. Stings a little worse.
Yeah,
Former teammate that's
nice. Well done.
And love the new app. No longer works with the Android Auto. Well, buy yourself an Apple phone. It's working with the CarPlay. No, they continue to upgrade the app. And if you have not updated your app recently, please consider doing so because it's getting better all the time. And it has more super cool stuff like texting us directly from the app. And then I get it directly on my phone. The old system used to go to the producers. They never shared their.
Well, you could have logged in, but now it's super easy and now we can see it. Curdy, the tears of unfathomable sadness from these Republicans. They taste so good. Cap Times reporting State Senator Eric Wimberger. He's a Republican from Green Bay. Eric, we're coming to your town.
Eric Weinberger? Go ahead.
Wimberger. Wimberger.
Oh, I said Weinberger.
Weinberger. A member of the GOP-controlled Joint Finance Committee that assembled most of the budget said Evers' veto will reduce state income tax cut by $2.7 billion. It's disappointing to see that he used his powerful veto pen to slash over half of our proposed tax cuts. The Republican plan would have resulted in about $3.5 billion in income tax cuts. Voss also very angry. Vetoing tax cuts on the top 2 brackets provides hardly any tax relief for truly middle-class families. His decision also creates another economic disadvantage for Wisconsin, leaving our top bracket higher than most of our neighboring states, including Illinois. Well, they also have legal weed and, safe abortion. But there's other reasons why people may not want to be here, Robin Voss. A lot of those reasons are because of your poor governorship. Let me rephrase that. Your poor legislative priorities.
Come on, undermining the UW system. That'll be a great thing for Wisconsin's future. Just chop them off at the knees.
No, man, come on.
They're too diverse over there. They're indoctrinating the kids. 844-967-2789. Jeff listening in Racine, WRJN country. Welcome, Jeff. What do you got for us?
Jeff from Racine. What's up, Jeff?
Yeah. I am a member of the Racine Educators United Teachers Union. Right?
Right on.
Right? Now, I received a communication from them saying that, and I quote, announced veto language he employed announcing an annual per pupil increase to public schools of $325 for the next 400 years. it is imperative for REU, Racine Educators United, members and Wisconsin public education supporters to know this language does not guarantee any additional state funding for public schools. Rather, this veto permits hundreds of local municipalities across Wisconsin to raise their own property taxes in perpetuity, or pronounce that, to an amount that fails to keep up with inflation. Can you help me understand that?
Well, as I understand it, the shared revenue, we've talked about shared revenue, money that comes from the state back to the municipalities. There is a shared revenue component. We've seen that has gone up. And there's also a school funding formula. And the school funding formula was already negotiated prior. And in fact, Tony Evers tied a big increase in voucher schools to the school funding formula. So all schools got an increase. Especially in the high school age voucher schools, they got like a $3,000 per student increase. But what Tony Evers did through this line item veto, this extension of revenue cap increases, as I understand it, and I'm not a budgetary expert, but what I understand, Jeff, is effectively that allows the school to create a levy, that allows the school to create a taxing authority and raise taxes for the purpose of funding the schools not to exceed $325 per student per year in increased spending authority. I don't know if that helps or not, sir, but that's different than the state of Wisconsin sending an additional $325 per student. It means you can raise that in your property taxes. Doesn't mean Uncle Bucky Badger or Robin Voss or Tony Evers is sending additional money because of that veto.
And let's not forget, if nothing is etched in stone, and if it can be sandblasted off, because if a guy like Scott Walker gets in, and perhaps if someone like Robin Voss and Fitzgerald back in the Senate back in the day, they can just do the next budget and wipe everything clean. So I mean,
that's never going to happen.
Yeah. So as great as it is, and it's certainly a statement for the education guy, right? The education governor. Well, that's one thing to, get your name in the history books, but it can certainly be undone by future Republican legislators and governors.
I really wish I had someone smart like Maggie Daun to talk to on this topic. Maybe she'll stop by later. 844-967-2789. Eric from Milwaukee. Welcome, Eric. What do you got for us?
Hi, Eric.
Hi, guys. Good to hear from you. I love listening to your show. I'm going to provide something inspirational for you all and for all your listeners. I'm turned 71 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
We're not singing like Gary did.
And thanks to science, I'm still here. I was battling lymphoma for 6 years.
Mm.
And my last checkup, everything is good.
That's awesome, sir.
Yeah, I thought I'd share it with you guys, something like that. Next time I'll talk to you about why some people are Republicans. You'll get a kick out of that too.
You tell me now. Why are people Republicans, Eric?
Okay, I can't pronounce the word that good, but I'll spell it to you. You can say the word.
Okay, we'll try.
MISOGYNIST.
Misogynist?
Correct.
You think misogyny is the reason why men are Republicans?
Yeah, because a lot of them have problems with relationships with women, and they're mad at women, and they think they deserve to have women in life, but because of their behavior with them, or they can't or they just kind of turn women off, they blame women for their problem, they're having without having a date.
Eric, I don't think you're so far off. Appreciate you listening on WAUK or maybe WRJN. You can hear both signals in the Milwaukee area. Dom, I'm not quite ready to go there yet. I was going to save it for the happy hour. But there is a little article over at the Washington Post. Philip Bump, he does analysis for the Washington Post, and the headline here, Ron DeSantis, presidential candidate, targets a significant primary demographic. insecure men. I believe that's
one of those in the Republican Party, man.
What Eric is saying, but let me jump down. There's a specific quote. I've highlighted it. I prepared for this show a little bit. But of course, there is another sense in which the Bateman character, and they're talking about, I believe, from the movie, Christian Bale played serial killer Patrick Bateman in a movie called American Psycho, and it's a weird movie.
It is a weird movie.
But there are a lot of these Ron DeSantis sort of liking people, or at least those they would hope to appeal to. They were using a clip of Christopher Bale, these sort of, to appeal to these reactionary sort of men. But anyways, that's where I pick up the article. But of course, there's another sense in which the Bateman character and other similarly self-conscious manifestations of masculinity seen in the video should be understood. Now, they sent out an anti-gay video, the DeSantis people did. It's pretty bad. It is an appeal not just to the memes popular with that online audience, but to the insecurity that leads to the embrace of characters such as Bateman. Trump has continuously leveraged white anxiety during his time in politics. DeSantis is appealing to male insecurity. Dom, the fact that you've been singing yacht rock all afternoon tells me you don't suffer from that.
No, I'm okay with where I'm at, man. I'm okay. I'm good. Thank you.
The Tucker crew and the tanning of their man parts. Apparently,
the whole masculine thing. I mean, who just gets to? Of course, that's a cultural thing. What do you define as masculine? Is being, empathetic and understanding and occasionally cry. Men don't cry, or you know what I'm saying? Or is it some 50s movie tough guy, with your pants pulled up to your chest so you don't show the belly in the black and white films? I mean, it's hard. It's hard to understand the mindset, but certainly you got to be comfortable in your own skin. But to Eric's point, it's not just like these Republicans. I think there's a lot of misogyny out there, no doubt about it, especially when you look at how they want to, have women remain as second-class citizens. And, move out, says Ron Johnson, if you don't like it here. But also we talked a couple of weeks ago about the young kids that are just giving up on sex, that are all angry at the women, right? So this is something that has been going on for a long time and continues to manifest itself in new ways.
I've never met a man more secure in his manhood than you, Dom.
I'm really? Just overcompensating from our supreme insecureness, Crudy. That's what
I don't see that as being the case. Insecurity, collectively, the panelists here have never suffered from insecurity, as near as I can tell. That's not been a problem we've ever really suffered from.
My parents instilled with me a strong sense of self-worth.
One more caller, at least this segment. Mark from the SAC, welcome back. Man's man. What do you got for us, Mark?
Mark.
What I saw that a man is more than the tackle between his legs. It's between his ears that makes somebody a man. And for these Republicans whining about this, so the guys at the very top are getting the same tax cut that the people down at the bottom are getting, as far from what I understand. I mean, because of how they have the income tax structured in the state, it's not your whole income that gets taxed at the same rate. It steps. And correct me if I'm wrong, it steps up at graduated rates as you move up the...
Sure. It's marginal tax rates, but once you've exceeded $37,000 per annum, it jumps way up before you hit another tax bracket. You're over $400,000, 405, 550 before you hit the next threshold of taxation. So that's the big, broad expanse that if Tony Evers was going to give a tax break to quote unquote the middle class, that would have had to be included there. And that's what these Republicans proposed, to a more extreme measure. And Tony vetoed it. I think there should be a compromise, but I think it would require recasting the upper tax brackets. And I don't know how Tony and these Republicans would ever get there from here.
I don't know either, because it's just ridiculous. That's too huge a jump. It should go up to like 200, maybe to $200,000, and then to 400, and another bracket starting at say 500 to 1,000 or 400,000. But I mean, that expansion there, it just like Don was saying earlier, that's just unreasonable. It's 36,000 up to 400,000.
Well, and of course, Republicans want to give a tax break to everyone making above that still.
Right.
Come back. Still a Yacht Rock Thursday edition.
Seed is rooted in technology. It starts with good genetics. Rank Seed evaluates more than 80,000 data points of breeding material. By planting plots throughout the Midwest and Great Plains, we expose our genetics to a wide range of environments, which helps us select the best varieties. We then utilize the latest technologies, including robotics and color sorters, to ensure the highest germination and the best quality of seed, tirelessly striving to better serve our customers. Rank Seed, results since 1846.
Hey, Brad from Zero Res Madison here. What's the best way to clean your carpet? Well, not surprisingly, it's the same way you clean your clothes. You wouldn't clean a dirty shirt by running a white cloth over the top of it, nor would you try to get it clean by sprinkling chemicals and rubbing it in. For a real clean, you need hot water, agitation, and a cleaning agent, just like your laundry. For a fresh, healthy clean with no residue, call Zero Res Madison or schedule online. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Larry, it's your mom. Did you know the Civic Media Network covers the whole state of Wisconsin? They can help your business get the word out, whether you want to reach a smidge of folks or just want the whole kit and caboodle. Call 608-819-8255. Okay then, bye.
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. Mainly clear skies tonight with the low of 54. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Tomorrow, highs around 80. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow night. Lows around 59. Cloudy. Upper 70s Saturday with a chance for scattered storms. Warmer Sunday with highs in the mid-80s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 77 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. At 10, As Goes Wisconsin. Then at noon, Civic Media Network News. On Mad Radio 92.7.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. Join us 844-967-2789. I'm bailing after 5 o'clock. Gotta go rock and roll some yacht rock out there. But Crudy is going to give away some Brewer tickets in the next hour, so make sure you stick around for a chance to win.
Dominic, I'm feeling almost as generous as Scotty Wanker with the taxpayers' money, giving it to Foxconn.
Oh, yeah, baby. Everybody gets some billions of dollars as long as it helps Trump's reelection and Scott Walker's reelection.
And every time I hear Robin Voss whining about something, I just think, Foxconn.
Yeah.
Shut up. We all got Foxconn by you and your party. Bruce Murphy, you realize it's been 6 years, Tom?
It's hard to believe.
6 years since Foxconn came and created the eighth wonder of the world. They built this monstrosity of a manufacturing facility, and they put
glorious
thousands of Wisconsin workers to work.
There's drones flying everywhere. There's self-driving trucks on the. Oh no, none of that's happening.
What happened to the Wisconsin Valley we were promised, Scott Walker?
And Robin Voss and Republicans and even a few Dems.
6 years after deal made, nothing has been manufactured. But the price tag keeps rising. Pardon me. I was thinking yacht rocking. This month is the 6-year anniversary of the famous announcement by then Gubernator Scotty Wanker, Scott Walker, as it's written here, of a deal with the Taiwanese company Foxconn that was soon hailed as the eighth wonder of the world by then President Donald Trump. The announcement came in late July of 2017. Foxconn promised to invest $10 billion in a massive factory to manufacture high-resolution LCD screens that would employ 13,000 people, in return for which they would receive a $3 billion subsidy from the state. Greatest incentive to a foreign corporation in America's history, right, Dom?
Wow.
And then 6 years later, Foxconn is still not manufacturing anything at the huge campus in Mount Pleasant, Racine County. That's right down by Robin Voss's district. What are they doing? What do you say you do around here, Foxconn?
What would you say you do here?
The most recent development is that Microsoft has agreed to buy a $50 million parcel of the Foxconn campus to build a data center. But as with all past announcements, the deal may not amount to many jobs created, even as it costs more for taxpayers. What a sweet deal. Back in 2017, Wanker and Republican legislators claimed the deal would only pay Foxconn for money invested and jobs created. But in fact, state and local governments paid heavily for the upfront cost. The state spent $168 million on roads and highways needed for what was supposed to be a massive manufacturing campus. And the village of Mount Pleasant and Racine County committed to spending $808 million for a sewer, water, and other costs. And by 2021 had spent $258 million on this. Also, the American Transmission Company, pushed by Scott Walker. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about this one too.
Installed high voltage power lines and new substation to service Foxconn's Promise campus at a total cost of $257 million, which is being paid for by electric ratepayers in Wisconsin. We also get to pay that tax in a way, don't we, Dom?
Well, we certainly do. And all these Republicans talk like yesterday with school loans, right? I mean, how does it, I'm not in school. I don't have those loans. How does it affect me? Well, here you go. You have Republicans giving money away for these kinds of deals. You're not benefiting from that, ratepayers.
Well, Dominic, the cost so far, $683 million. And the debt keeps rising. The debt taken on by Mount Pleasant village government amounts to 500% of its operating revenues. They've indebted themselves 5 times more than their total revenues.
Yeah, but so what? If they indebt themselves and they can't pay it, you know who ends up paying that bill? The rest of the state.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. We have the backstop for that investment. Thank you, Scotty Walker.
Rudy, under Governor Tony Evers, the deal with Foxconn was drastically downsized, but only after all this spending was completed or committed. Yet even this kept the door open for Foxconn to collect $37.4 million in tax credits for investing $266 million at the site and creating 579 jobs during 2020 and 768 jobs and a capital investment of $77 million in 2021. But there is still no evidence that Foxconn or these workers are actually manufacturing anything at the Mount Pleasant campus. Foxconn had promised a Gen 10.5 fab facility, then cut down to a Gen 6 fabrication facility, and then just dropped the idea entirely. It has floated plans to make electric cars, automatic coffee kiosks for airports, ventilators during the pandemic, and to assemble servers for Google. It has asked employees for ideas and discussed fish farms, exporting ice cream, storing boats, cosmetics, designer handbags, gaming teams, dairy exports, and a project involving camera fastened autonomous vehicles, the tech publication The Verge reported. Foxconn, now get this, folks. This is how they played the game. Foxconn hired hundreds of workers towards the end of 2019, claiming them on its report to the state for the 2019 year, then quickly laying off the employees in early 2020. One former Foxconn employee called it a pump and dump operation done to qualify for state tax credits. Urban Milwaukee reported this tax loophole in 2020. The new contract negotiated by the Evers administration appears to have closed this loophole, which has meant the workers are kept on the payroll for a longer period, but there's still no evidence they're manufacturing anything. Mostly what has happened is that Foxconn has changed the name of its efforts, first switching from a Gen 10.5 to a Gen 6, and now for years saying that its empty warehouse in southeast Wisconsin is a centerpiece of the AI 8K plus 5G strategy, Crudy. Hell, throw out some other acronyms and letters and numbers. We'll call it something else, without ever explaining what that means, as The Verge reported.
What would you say you do around
I mean,
here?
aren't you glad? Now, let's not forget, and this is what all you patriotic, Republicans who care so deeply about small government. Scott Walker and Robin Voss, and they used eminent domain to go in, use the force of government to kick people out of their homes, to buy up their land in order to subsidize and give this away to a foreign corporation that has reneged on every part of the deal. They use the force of government. You're talking about small government Republicans. That is not who they are, because they will take your stuff even if you vote for them.
Well, it was Scott Walker's reelection Hail Mary, Dom.
Well, yeah, sure, of course.
How'd that work out for him?
Yeah. But Tony and the veto, and it's not fair. Is it a total lack of judgment, or is it just rank, I don't know, corruption?
What's not fair is you're going to Yacht Rock, and the rest of us were just sticking around talking politics and winning some Brewer tickets in the happy hour. Dom, get the hell out of here.
I'll see you on Baker Street, Crudy.
Green Bay tomorrow, fella.
You know
the rest of you stick around the happy hour, and Brewers tickets to give away next.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon. You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HB. You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
What would you say you do here?
It's 5 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Terry Bell, and here's what Wisconsin needs to know. The state budget battle rages on. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos tells a Milwaukee radio station that Republicans will introduce a bill to cut state income taxes. Governor Evers used his line item veto to introduce a bill to cut state income taxes, and Governor Evers used his line item veto to strike tax cuts for Wisconsin's highest earners. Voss also says the University of Wisconsin system won't get $32 million for workforce programs unless campus diversity offices are closed. Those are just a couple of the items lawmakers and the governors will hash out in the weeks to come. Pete Schwaba reports.
His budget vetoes to take a second look at some of the state's priorities. In particular, he says the $15 million he put back into subsidized child care centers isn't nearly enough.
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. I mean, that's a pittance. Our proposal in this budget, I think it was $300 million. That $15 million will not do it. Not even close.
Republicans warn that property taxes will go up because of Evers' line item veto that lets school districts increase spending for inflation for the next 400 years. Representative Mark Bourne is co-chair of the Budget Writing Joint Finance Committee.
Who knows what it's going to look like 100, 200 years from now. This veto is just really a silly gimmick by this governor.
Bourne spoke with Channel 58 in Milwaukee. Pete Schwaba, Civic Media News.
Newly approved vaccines should help reduce the severity of a respiratory virus known as RSV this winter. Mark Moran has more.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a leading cause of hospitalization for infants in the U.S. It is estimated to cause around 10,000 deaths annually in Americans aged 65 and older. Flu and COVID have safe and effective vaccines, but until now, RSV did not. Dr. Patricia Winokur at the University of Iowa led a vaccine trial and found it helpful at both ends of the age spectrum, but also for pregnant women and their babies.
What they found is they could prevent disease in the babies for 90% of the time for 3 months. And then if you followed them for 6 months, they were about 80% protected.
This clinical trial was conducted among 37,000 adults aged 60 and older nationwide. I'm Mark Moran.
2 18-year-olds are under arrest after a fatal shooting after Milwaukee's fireworks show Monday night. It's not clear how they're connected. A 15-year-old boy was shot to death. And that's what Wisconsin needs to know. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Field, that's sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Is it still a Yacht Rock Thursday happy hour if Dom's left and gone to Yacht Rock without us, folks? I don't think it is. I think we'll move on to normal old rock and roll. Less yacht, more rock. Work with me on this one, Ebone. Dealer's choice this hour.
I've got you. Yeah.
And we've got some Brewers tickets to give away this weekend. Saturday game. I got to look up which game it is. I'll get to that eventually. But here is the arbitrary way we're going to give away some Brewers tickets. I don't know if you've heard, but there's some sad news out of Washington, D.C. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been booted from the Freedom Caucus. I mean, talk about politics not being fair. That is not fair, some would say. So anyways, here's my question for you, our fair audience. And the answer to be given at 844-967-2789. If you want some Brewers tickets, tell our boy E-Bone he lightly screens. But I want to know, what did MTG do to get thrown out? What do you got to do to get thrown out of the Freedom Caucus? I mean, I suspect she might have brought a bad meth recipe to the party. Gideon Rubin reporting over at the Raw Story Plus. No longer right-wing enough. Marjorie Taylor Greene ridiculed after being booted from the Freedom Caucus. Apparently the Freedom Caucus, they met and they booted her. Reports that Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene was voted out of the ultra-conservative Freedom Caucus sent Twitter a buzz Thursday. Politico reported the far-right congresswoman was voted out of the caucus last month, citing Andy Harris, a Freedom Caucus member who told the outlet a combination of factors led to Greene's ouster. I want to hear your speculation, though. Again, 844-967-2789. How did old three-toe MTG get thrown out of the Freedom Caucus? What'd you do, Marjorie? He noted her backing for the debt limit deal, her ongoing support for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and in exchange with fellow Freedom Caucus member Lauren Boebert, in which Greene reportedly called the Colorado Congresswoman a little bitch. I've used that turn of phrase as well once or twice in my career. Harris didn't indicate whether he voted to expel Greene, but called her expulsion an appropriate action. Twitter agreed. Getting kicked out of the Freedom Caucus for lack of decorum is like getting kicked out of the crack house for having too much crack, Attorney Don Lewis tweeted. Well done, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well done. There are some other responses here, but I'd rather hear yours. What'd Marjorie Taylor Greene do to get thrown out of the esteemed Freedom Caucus? Jim from Appleton. Welcome to the show, Jim. What do you got for us?
I just want to go back to Foxconn for just a second.
Let's do so.
We should put a billboard. We should put a billboard at each end of that campus saying, "This is the Foxconn campus. Republicans spending your money well."
You know, there's some billboards down there, some digital billboards I was just looking at recently. You know, we want to promote the fact that down in Robin Voss's district, we've got a shiny new, well, it's not brand new, it's 97 years on the air, but a shiny new civic media news talk station, WRJN. And that station's going to have some fine sports. And of course, the Devil's Advocates, we're playing out there right now. But the sports include the Packers, the Badgers, the Bucks, and the Brewers in 2024. I could not be more excited about the sports lineup. And we're nearing completion on rolling out the high school sports on Friday night as well, Jim. So there's lots of reasons to, advertise what's going on in, let's say, Robin Voss's backyard. There are some digital billboards out there that we've looked at, but I would probably be more likely to brag about WRJN or the sports or the exploits of this fine radio network. Robin Voss, he's got to win his own reelective campaign. He's got to survive his own bad decisions, his own bad governance. But, billboards holding him accountable in his district, it might be a good start, Jim. 844-967-2789. We're going to have to pass the hat or something. Dean from Chippewa Falls, hopefully listening on the Tap 93.5. Welcome, Dean.
How you doing there, Crudy? No, I'm listening on the app.
Oh, awesome. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene got kicked off the Freedom Caucus. I think she dropped her contribution to the fueled orgy in the White House the other day.
You think she was the bearer of the cocaine?
You never know.
Now, was she bringing it there to plant it near the Biden Oval Office, or, personal use kind of stuff, Dean?
That would have been my guess. Yeah, she's just a plant.
Dean, appreciate your contribution.
Okay, Crudy, you have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. 844-967-2789. I feel like I know Dean, but I don't know Dean. But if you're a listener at the Devil's Advocates, you can be a friend. You can join us, become a regular around here. We are going to give away some Brewers tickets for this Saturday's game at American Family Field. Brewers came off a semi-successful series against the Cubs. They beat the Cubs today, 6-5. Fred from Cottage Grove, you're next on the party line, 844-96-PARTY. Fred, welcome. What do you got for us?
I've got the answer, but I don't think I can use the tickets this Saturday now.
Well, I can use the clever. I can use the help. So give me your take. What did Marjorie Taylor Greene do to get thrown out of the Freedom Caucus?
Bobart got into a pissing match, and Bobart and called her a bitch.
That's the real reason. I'm looking for the speculative reason.
The speculative?
Fred, sounds like you got your own. You got your own kitchen cabinet going on in there.
Yeah, really. We're getting ready for the concert on the square too, but just listen to you guys on the app. Always listen there.
Well, Fred, appreciate you doing so. Obviously, you're being pulled in a few different directions. I had read the reporting that apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene, had called her colleague, her fellow congressperson, a little bitch. That'd be Lorraine Boebert. What's her real name? I don't know. Lorraine. I see her political opponent, her Democratic opponent, the declared candidate that wants to win that Colorado seat away from Boebert, raised $2.6 million. That's not a bad start. 844-967-2789. I want to come back to a little article we started last hour. Ron DeSantis and the insecure men who might support him. Pardon me. Philip Bump over at the Washington Post. I'm going to read a little of this and perhaps your contributions. There are three obvious reasons that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign promoted an aggressively anti-LGBTQ plus ad on social media last week. The first is that DeSantis is not making any headway in his efforts to overtake the Republican frontrunner. That's Donald Trump, if you're unaware. In part, this is because DeSantis is competing with Trump for the former president's base of support on terrain that is continually being defined by Trump. DeSantis' team undoubtedly pushed out the self-consciously controversial ad, knowing it might earn him some much-needed attention in which he could talk about how Trump was unacceptably welcoming of LGBTQ people. He would never be welcoming of any sort of people. In this regard, the ad has been a success. When Morning Joe is outraged about your content, a Republican presidential campaign considers it mission accomplished. Each time it's embedded in an article with a news outlet expressing condemnation, two DeSantis staffers high five. Then there's the second reason. The ad is replete not just with cherry-picked examples of Trump attempting to appeal to LGBTQ voters, ignoring, for example, Trump's angry efforts to block transgender people from serving in the military, but with esoteric iconography popular with the on-light right-wing fringe. Those clips of Christian Bale, we talked about this before, from American Psycho, playing serial killer Patrick Bateman It's meant to appeal to reactionary dudes whose adopted Bale's character is a not entirely ironic role model. Again, the character is a serial killer, if you're unaware, with the movie American Psycho. In other words, there is a sense in which it is just basic demographic marketing, such as McDonald's using the latest Pixar characters in their Happy Meals. The goal is to present DeSantis is aligned with that verbose community and that they will commend him and share his message. Isn't that kind of what the Proud Boys did for Donald Trump once upon a time? More from the author, Philip Bump, here at the Post. But of course, there is another sense. I've read this before, but I'm going to be redundant. But of course, there is another sense in which the Bateman character and other similarly self-conscious manifestations of masculinity seen in the video should be understood. It is an appeal not just to the memes popular with that online audience, but to the insecurity that leads to the embrace of characters such as Bateman. Trump has continuously leveraged white anxiety during his time in politics. DeSantis is appealing to male insecurity. We'll come back. Got more thoughts from this article, more of your contributions. We're going to give away some Brewers tickets this hour. Going to take your phone calls right here. 844-967-2789. I'd still like to find out
I just didn't have you on the right thing. You hit the post just fine. It was perfect.
God.
It's go time at Chula Vista. Time for you to discover Wisconsin's most complete resort experience. 200,000 square feet of water park fun. New thrills like zipline racing, 18 holes of classic golf, Wisconsin's #1 steakhouse, hundreds of newly renovated rooms. Check it out at chulavistaresort.com.
Chula Vista Resort is one of the nation's top 10 indoor water parks per USA Today's 2023 Reader's Choice Awards. Find out why at chulavistaresort.com.
Rain or shine, it's a breeze getting an e-bike from Crazy Lenny's.
Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has the largest in-store display of models in a rainbow of colors. No high pressure, up to 50% off.
Brighten your day with an e-bike from Crazy Lenny's.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download the Civic Media app from the Apple or Google Play Store, then listen live or whenever you want from anywhere for free.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. Mainly clear skies tonight with the low of 54. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Tomorrow, highs around 80. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow night. Lows around 59. Cloudy. Upper 70s Saturday with a chance for scattered storms. Warmer Sunday with highs in the mid-80s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 78 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. 12:15 Town Call. 1 p.m. The Todd Alba Show on Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX.
The Devil's Advocates. Making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, giving away a pair of Milwaukee Brewers tickets for this Saturday, 3:10 first pitch. Cincinnati Reds come to Milwaukee, courtesy of our flagship brewer station, WISS 1100 AM, 98.3 FM, Oshkosh Air Support. Going up there very soon. EAA coming in later in July, the 24th through the 28th. Civic Media, the mayor and Mino, going to be broadcasting live each and every morning from the EAA. Hope you join us there. I want to be up there at least one day. I like Oshkosh, like a lot of these fine cities that we find ourselves broadcasting in each and every day. I want to get back to this Ron DeSantis trying to appeal to the insecure men set. And also taking your calls if you want to win those Brewers tickets. Tell Ebone when he lightly screens you at 844-967-2789. But your rampant speculation encouraged. What got Marjorie Taylor Greene thrown out of the Freedom Caucus? Apparently they voted to expel their own member. She ain't Backwano crazy enough for him anymore.
Yeah. The insurrection was not armed. That's the problem. Her and Bannon they couldn't pull it off. So, she's out. It's official. She's gone.
Well, if you've got a speculation of your own, I'd like to hear it here, especially the entertaining sort. Good conspiracy theories, welcome at 844-967-2789. You're competing for a pair of Brewers tickets, and they're good seats. Cincinnati Reds coming to town. Anyways, I read again from the Washington Post. So this is what DeSantis is trying to tap into and what he's defending. There is another version of America possible this ad offers, one in which real men get to do real men things, like be gladiators, or it seems mass murderers. Enough with the treating LGBTQ people as worthy of inclusion in society. Let's instead return to primacy, to real alpha men. Please like and share. It's not clear how much cynicism we should read into the ad. Again, DeSantis rolling out this very anti-gay ad. Any more than it's clear how much cynicism we should read into DeSantis's, easy for me to say, broader adoption of fringe right politics over the past 2 years. But this, too, is the theme of modern politics, the distinction between the person who uses antagonistic rhetoric as a tool and the person who uses it out of a sincere belief is unimportant to the targets of the antagonism. There is a useful quote that captures that sentiment. In 2018, a candidate for office declined to say his opponent was racist. Instead, he said, the racist believe he's a racist. You know who that candidate was? Democrat Andrew Gillum, talking about his opponent in the gubernatorial contest, a guy named Ron DeSantis. Perhaps you've heard of him. He's from Florida. 844-967-2789. Your chance to win some Brewers tickets. Speculate on why Marjorie Taylor Greene got thrown out of the caucus, or perhaps an early Friday grievance. Mine is Dom's yacht rocking while the rest of us are doing a little radio show here. Tom from LA. Welcome back, Tom. What do you got for us?
Well, first, Critty, we the people ultimately are the government, so we must never forget that, but we do need to get money out of politics to restore it back to us. Second, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene.
What'd she do?
Who knows? Maybe one of them are sleeping with the other one's spouse since the one got divorced and all of that. I'm just, throwing something out there. I don't know for sure, but you never know, when it comes to, what's going on with these women, these particular women, they definitely spout the family values, but maybe when Boebert got divorced, maybe Marjorie picked up and started hitting on her husband. Who knows?
You think there's some coveting
also,
of the neighbor's bumpkin spouse going on, Tom?
Yeah, the neighbor's wife or neighbor's goods. Yeah, possibly. You never know. Anybody else got any other suggestions? I'd love to hear them. But also, Critty, I think that Ron DeSantis is the most closeted case I think I've ever met. He's got more homoerotic stuff on his commercials and all of this, along with the old Tucker, which really and truly we don't want them in our group of gay men. So I wish that they would take their homoerotic and semi-porn things. I guess they haven't gotten the note yet that most gay men are visually stimulated and like actually the look of gladiators and other men shirtless and what have you, just like straight men are very stimulated by the female body. So I don't know what he's doing. But first he brings up a whole thing about don't say gay. So of course everyone's going to say, well, what's gay? So therefore he brought up the whole conversation. And now he's putting homoerotic type ads up that, you know, hey, this dude is a closet case as far as he's a pumpkinhead first off, but he's a closet case as far as I'm concerned.
What could it be this? Instead of trying to appeal to insecure men, could it be, Tom, that Ron DeSantis is trying to appeal to self-loathing, closeted gay men on the Republican side?
Well, I would say, yeah, that's what I think. I think I think any of these guys that are, you know, really into other guys' bodies and stuff and need to see all that they might want to check their orientation at the door, and maybe not make fun of gay people because they themselves got three fingers pointing back at them when they're pointing a finger at somebody else. So for all you guys out there that are really, really insecure about your sexuality, you might want to, you know, check out these Ron DeSantis ads or, you know.
Sorry, got to cut short. More Devils coming back.
So, folks, for those of you who missed it, they had a great rollout on Twitter last week, and I am Ron DeSantis running for.
On Mad Radio, 92.7 WMDX.
ABC News, I'm Andy Field. A new rival and rift brewing on social media. Meta's new Threads platform launched last night. Twitter attorney sending a cease and desist letter to Meta's head, Mark Zuckerberg, alleging it's violated intellectual property rights. Washington Post tech columnist Jeffrey Fowler says Threads resembles Twitter.
It is almost an exact clone of Twitter. There's even a little retweet button with the little circular arrows. The biggest difference is that Elon Musk is not the owner.
More than 30 million have signed on to Threads so far. The Biden administration expected to announce it's decided to send cluster munitions to Ukraine to help defend against Russian attacks. Could be part of the latest military aid package. Walt Nauta, the aide to former President Trump, appeared in court today, pleading not guilty to 6 charges connected to the special counsel's criminal case of Trump's handling of classified documents. Charges include conspiracy, obstructing, and making false statements. This is ABC News.
Looking for more local programming? Check out our website, civicmedia.us, to see our entire lineup.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know in the Madison area. Authorities say it looks like a man from Beaver Dam was murdered at a strip club in western Wisconsin. 55-year-old Andrew Frechette was found unresponsive in the parking lot of the bar in Alma Friday morning. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department is looking into it. They say they can't release any more information since it's an active investigation. It might take a long time before we know why a freight train jumped the tracks in Reeseville the other day. The State Railroad Commissioner says only a small number of people are trained to handle these types of investigation. Nobody was hurt when 29 train cars derailed on the 4th of July. The cars weren't carrying anything dangerous, but the damage to the tracks and the cars is extensive. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page, or Squarespace, or Google My Business, or WordPress. But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
Do you love getting rewards when you shop? Then shop Knucklehead CBD and vapes with the Knuckleheads Club. Every $10 spent gets you closer to 25% off. No matter what you buy, make sure you buy Knuckleheads. Stop in Saturday and Sunday and get 15% off Wellness and Wellness Plus, including Delta 8, THCP, CBD, and more, while getting points towards your next purchase. Knucklehead CBD and vapes, your one-stop smoke shop, located at 520 State Street in Madison. No matter what you buy, make sure you buy Knuckleheads.
From the kennel to the coop, whatever the season, Fleet Farm has everything to keep your animals happy and healthy. From training your pup to sit season to mastering those retrieval skills season, From clipping your horse for competition season to keeping the backyard birds well-fed season. And of course, loving your pets like family season. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, you don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
Miss our conversations on air? Join the discussion on our social media channels. Find Civic Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find social media for specific shows and hosts on our website. Go to civicmedia.us.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
Think you know politics? Think again. Welcome to the Devil's Advocates.
The way you shake that thing gonna make you burn, gonna make you stay.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Thursday edition. Hour one was Yacht Rock. We moved on from that. Getting lots of text out on the new Civic Media app. Appreciate when you text us. Here is what the people are texting. Some are speculating. Some are requesting music. Here's one of the musical requests, because we told the audience we're moving on from the Yacht Rock. I suggest some Rush, Led Zeppelin, King Crimson, or maybe Joan Jett.
Man's got some taste. All right.
There are some people speculating on what got Marjorie Taylor Greene thrown out of the Freedom Caucus. And in fact, we're giving away some tickets for a clever take. Brewers tickets for this weekend, Saturday's game, American Family Field, Cincinnati Reds coming courtesy of our flagship, Brewers flagship, WISS 1100 AM. Here's more. Hi, Solo Crudy. Jimbo here. MTG got booted for leaving Don Jr.'s Coke at the White House.
Two. All right, we got two.
Now, that is not an entirely original thought. We do have a few, Jeff also speculating she left the blow in the West Wing. So that has been a common thought. Here's one. She was busted watching too much Hunter Biden porn.
Oh, God.
Oh, that'll get you thrown out of the Freedom Caucus.
They're just jealous.
Somebody's trying to get tickets from... No, you can't have the tickets in Idaho. You got to go to the game yourself. That's not how this is played. 844-967-2789. Drew from Marshall. Welcome, Drew. What do you got for us?
Hey, I got a theory. I think that Mrs. Grossman complained that Marjorie wasn't stepping up to be the bearer of her grandchildren. So Fitzy and Glenn got her kicked out because she was not properly family orientated. How's that?
Drew, you put some thought into this. That is a good conspiracy theory, my friend.
That's what you were going for, I thought.
That's exactly what I was going for, man. You want some Brewers tickets to the Cincinnati Reds game this Saturday, 3:10 first pitch?
I would, yes.
Well, you stick around. I'm going to have my man E-Bone take your information, and we'll get you a pair of tickets transferred electronically, courtesy of our flagship, WISS 1100 AM and 98.3 FM. And also WRCE, radio from the center. Play the Brewers out in the southwestern corner of the state as well on that station. Let's see, who's next? I think it's Joe from Madison. Joe, welcome. What do you got for us?
Oh, let's just widen this conspiracy even more. People have had some nice tips on that. I think it could be Don Jr.'s blow that was left there. And I think that would make a very interesting kind of murder mystery thing happening. She got in the middle of that. Was she supposed to leave it there? Was she supposed to leave it somewhere else? Did she somehow mess up an entrapment that was happening against Hunter Biden? Is that why they're all mad at her?
Was she
I just think
she was like G. Gordon Liddy. She was there to plant some evidence against against Hunter outside the Oval Office, and then she blew it.
What do you think?
She got caught at the Watergate, and now she's been exiled from the Freedom Caucus.
Oh, it's only just the first that she's been exiled from the Freedom Caucus. All of a sudden, there'll be this unfortunate accident somewhere. You know how this goes, right? You know, a little something, something.
You think she's going to fall down the speaker's stairs or something? You know, he's got his own balcony out there, and I've heard they're kind of chummy, her and the speaker. Do you think she'll end up on
it's slippery.
the granite stairs below?
We need to continue this series, so clearly something is afoot. The little bitch just isn't enough to get this going. The blow in the White House is really that's the tip off. Somebody did a plant, and she's the logical one. And I just don't think her troubles are over. A lot of slippery surfaces in the Capitol building. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Joe, appreciate your conspiracy theory. We'll take yours. Now, we gave away a pair of Brewers tickets, but I got another pair. I could give them today if I got another really good theory and someone was looking for a pair of Brewers tickets against the Cincinnati Reds this Saturday. 3:10 first pitch. Did I mention that? 844-967-2789. Here's the game you got to play along with. Well, you can give us your political hot takes, but we're also taking your rampant speculation. What got Marjorie Taylor Greene exiled from the Freedom Caucus? What could you possibly do that's, unacceptable conduct amongst the Freedom Caucus members? That's what we want to hear from you, our fair audience. Again, 844-967-2789. Might have a extra pair of Brewers tickets. We'll see if we give them away today. Dick from Madison, welcome. What do you got for us?
I think it has something to do with, first of all, I think she's admitted, like Santos, she isn't really who she really is, that she's actually burning rubble. And that might be what it is.
Do you think she stepped on somebody's toes trying to become the Grand Poobah?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure.
She definitely has the boxy feature. She's more Bam Bam than Pebbles.
Yeah, and if you put her in that type of outfit that the Flintstones wore, I can totally see it.
Well, now I know how we got the name of Bam Bam.
Now, DeSantis, though, one real quick thing, Kurt. DeSantis and Lindsey Graham, do you not think they have some real similarities, too?
You tell me why you think they're similar.
Well, I think because they're both, I don't know.
Wise.
I won't go there.
Because they both serve in a government?
Yeah, well, they both have they kind of seem to say something about the big guy, and then they always walk it back. Have you noticed that?
I guess I prefer you go in that direction than where I thought you were going, Dick. But
good save.
Thanks for walking me back off that ledge. 844-967-2789. Yes, there's no real courage that I've seen demonstrated from the Republican Party, because to have courage in the Republican Party gets you exiled from the Republican Party. And I would look at the example of Liz Cheney more so than the exiling from the Freedom Caucus of Marjorie Taylor Greene. That seems to be something different, if you know what I mean. In fact, we're taking your rampant speculation. There could even be a pair of Brewers tickets in it for you. I got one more pair to give. 844-967-2789. Ben from Verona. Welcome, Ben. What do you got for us?
Well, you guys, I was just wondering, maybe do you think the connection could be with Kermit's birthday from McDonald's?
What? Tie it all together for me. I don't have that beautiful a mind. The Grimace Shake? What are we talking about here, Ben?
Yeah, you know, the Grimace Shake, the birthday, the connection of Grimace and Miss Taylor Greene.
You know,
physically and emotionally, perhaps.
You know, Ben, I recently found myself in an out-of-state marijuana dispensary, doing what comes naturally. And I was unaware of the Grimace Shake, but the stoner a few ahead of me in the line was bragging and ranting about, oh man, I can't wait to get done here. I'm going to get a Grimace Shake. Are they good, Ben? Would you recommend the Grimace shakes?
It depends how much time you spend or how much money you spend at the dispensary before you go.
Direct correlation,
that's my
yes.
answer for that. Yes, absolutely.
Grimace, do you remember the characters from McDonald's? And Ben, I tell you what, buddy, I'm gonna reminisce and give you some Brewers tickets for this Saturday against the Cincinnati Reds. So stick around for those. But do you remember the whole cast of characters? Grimace, and then there was like the Hamburglar, and there was Mayor McCheese. I mean, they had all these characters, and at Easttown Mall in Madison, they had the like the animation. I feel like they had the characters out in front of the in-mall restaurant. And I don't recall if it was like Chuck E. Cheese, like if they did a little dance, but I kind of feel like they had the big stuffed characters out front, sort of taxidermy style.
Well, yeah, there was a whole storyline too.
Truly incredible. I do remember the cast, but I had no idea such awesomeness existed.
I suspect there's some children in the greater Madison area that might have PTSD. I mean, they were somewhat scary characters, all things considered. And there was always the specter of that little robber-looking guy in his jail outfit stealing your burger at any given time. Ben, stick around. E-Bone's going to get you your tickets. He needs to get a little bit of information from you. So, want to thank our flagship station, WISS 1100 AM, again, providing free PNC club seats to our fair audience. I mean, this is a damn good deal. So, please give us a listen on the 1100 AM. That's where the Brewers play out on the Civic Media. They also play out on WRCE. That's our radio from the center, 1450 AM and 107.7 FM in Richland Center, Wisconsin. And can't wait until next year, because on WRJN Southern Milwaukee Metro, going to have them in Racine. Brewers coming on board in Racine for 2024. That is going to be a sports powerhouse. And of course, the Racine Kenosha home of the Devil's Advocates radio show. You know, you're listening right now. Hopefully you love us. We're going to move away from the yacht rocking, but we are going to continue this hour with more of your phone calls. Done with the Brewers tickets, but we will have some fun with you at 844-967-2789. Been speculating a little bit. You don't have to play along any longer. I think we've about played it out, but we were having a little bit of fun, me and the audience, discussing, speculating, conspiracy theorizing over what it could be that got Marjorie Taylor Greene expelled from the Freedom Caucus, the esteemed Freedom Caucus. Anyways, you got any bright ideas? 844-967-2789. One of the texters says Marjorie Taylor Greene was guilty of not looking enough like Ivanka. The president apparently has a unnatural affection for his daughter. Maybe you've heard the stories. General Kelly used to tell a few. Here's another one. DeSantis and Lindsay are the same. They're both gay. I think that was the underlying implication some thought that Dick might be alluding to. That might be the case. I am not here to speculate. I just think they're both bad at what they do, and they both govern for a living. And they're Republicans, of course. What else we got here? Marjorie Taylor, three-toe Green. Wait, I got to get to the rest here. Didn't bring the product to the latest Coke-fueled orgy for some reason.
She left it on the table. Look at that.
Remember when that young Madison Cawthorn character?
How could I forget?
A congressman from North Carolina, and he lost the support of the Freedom Caucus and many of his colleagues when he said the quiet part out loud. I've been invited to Coke-fueled Republican orgies. And I would wonder, was the problem that A, he let the secret out of the bag, or B, he didn't tell his buddies up on the Hill, hey, Jimmy's throwing a Coke-fueled orgy. You got to be there?
Next one's at my place, yeah.
Saturday night. You know, maybe you didn't bring the proper chips and dips. What does one bring to an orgy?
He'll be in the pink nightie.
Perhaps an 8-ball. Come back with us. Since they found the cocaine in the Biden White House, there's been lots of cocaine talk around here. It's kind of the joke of the day. I actually saw the Biden symbol today, and like the I was a cocaine line. I thought it was kind of clever. Anyways, more Devils. We'll be back. Call us 844-96-PARTY.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't lap the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Here's your Mad Radio forecast. 54 tonight, under mainly clear skies, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly cloudy tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 80. Cloudy skies tomorrow night, chance for scattered storms, lows level off around 59. Highs level off around 79. Saturday, with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. 84, mainly clear skies, Sunday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 78 degrees.
This summer, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX has a new starting lineup. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Tom and Cruz. Then at 6, The Maggie Daun Show.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, rolling through the Thursday. We've moved on from the Yacht Rock. This one came Rush. Well, Rush, that was a request on the text line. So playing that one for somebody in the audience. Tomorrow, me and my little buddy Dominic, we're going on the road, Titletown. We're going to bring Dr. Harvey K to WGBW in Green Bay, 97.9. We're going to interview Harvey, I believe, at 4:30 until 5 o'clock. And then we've got John Mino, who's something of a Fox Valley legend, and former Milwaukee Mayor Jim Schmidt. They're going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to talk about their big show. Mino and the Mayor plays out across the Fox Valley on WGBW and WISS. And I want to bring this up for the audience. We started the day talking about Tony Evers trolling the Republicans. His campaign tweeted out a little meme of Tony sipping tea, if you will. Well, you know who else is trolling? President Joe Biden. He's going to Marjorie Taylor Greene's district to showcase Bidenomics. Here's a little of the coverage at thehill.com. President Biden said today that he's heading to rep Marjorie Taylor Greene's district in Georgia to tout investments in manufacturing and his economic agenda. Now, they've got some quotes here. I believe we've got the sound of the president, don't we, E-Bone? You did the work. I'm taking the credit. Let's play it out for the audience. President Joe Biden He was speaking today from South Carolina. He's going to Georgia next. Play cut one.
When you build from the middle out and the bottom up, everybody does well. The wealthy still do very well. But that trickle-down economy, not a whole lot dropped on my dad's kitchen table growing up.
More from President Joe Biden in South Carolina. Cut number 2, please.
Our plan is working. And one of the things I'm proudest of is working everywhere, not just in the coast and big cities like previous recoveries. This time, investment is working in factories being built and jobs being created, happening in rural America, the heartland, all across America.
And the strangest thing is Wall Street is rooting against the American worker. Tomorrow, when they drop the jobs numbers, they're going to be massive. The early indications of the jobs report could be double the prediction. We could have a very robust jobs market, perhaps 500,000 new hires. The unemployment, the number of jobs listed in the nation falling to below 10 million, which is a pretty low threshold. Anyways, wait for that. You heard it here first. That'll be a big report hitting the American public, hitting the press in the morning. But Joe Biden on the road talking about Bidenomics. The jobs are coming home. President Joe Biden's going to Georgia to stick it to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think are we at 3 or 4? Cut number 3, President Joe Biden. The jobs are coming home.
Jobs that used to go to Mexico, India, Romania, and China are now coming home to South Carolina. Now Enphase is partnering with Flex to make these parts here in South Carolina. And today, they're shipping their first microinverters made in America.
More from President Joe Biden. They're building factories and they're expanding factories. Cut 4.
Companies across the county, across the country, are expanding factories, building new ones, creating tens of thousands of good-paying jobs, most of which don't require a 4-year degree.
One more from Joe Biden. These are all investments that the GOP voted against. Went down to red old South Carolina, going to Georgia next, going to the heart of Dixieland, the heart of the Republican South. And he's telling the truth. And it's got to sting a little bit, especially for Marjorie Taylor Greene coming to your house next. Cut number 5, please. President Joe Biden.
Every Republican member of the Congress voted against the Inflation Reduction Act. Everyone. Every Republican member of the House in this state voted to repeal the clean energy provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act. That attracted all these jobs.
One more quote I'll read on behalf of President Joe Biden. Since I took office, we've seen over 60 domestic manufacturing announcements all across the solar supply chain. One of the biggest is in Dalton, Georgia, the president said during remarks in South Carolina. You may find it hard to believe, but that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. I'll be there for the groundbreaking. Now, you got to believe that's got to be particularly galling to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that I don't think she's a big believer in the renewable resources. Biden was visiting the company Flex Ltd. to tout $500 billion in investments that private companies have made in manufacturing and clean energy during his administration. Greene has emerged as one of Biden's top critics on Capitol Hill, and the president recently has been targeting Republican lawmakers who did not vote for his agenda, but have hailed new investments in their states. In South Carolina, Biden called out our buddy, we've been talking about him today, Senator Lindsey Graham, for supporting part of the agenda while still joining every GOP lawmaker in voting against the Inflation Reduction Act. It's always ironic. Republicans vote against, and then they try to take credit for. Lou from Cudahy, do you find that ironic, Lou?
Here's what's ironic. Since Joe Biden ran up the inflation rate to over 9, now it's back down in the 8s, I think.
Oh, it's way below that,
25%, 25% of the value of IRAs and 401ks have been erased. So people are going to need to go back to work. And what do you think about the 6 million illegals that have come across the border under his administration and the 124 people on the terrorist watch list who have now been captured? You happy about that? And by the way, that's not political theory. Those are actual facts.
Well, Lou, I will say this in regards to the 6 million number that you put out. We need those people here, Lou. We need the immigrants. We need the labor force. We need to continue to grow as a nation. We do not let a sufficient number of immigrants into our nation under our current policy. We live in an agrarian state, Lou. I know you're in Cudahy, buddy, but look outside. Look around this state. We're a dairy, labor-intensive farming state, right, buddy? You know that. I know that. Where do you think those workers come from? They often come from the Latin countries. They're often not of legal immigration status, Lou. When they do a day without Latinos in this state, the farming industry, they got to pour the milk down the drains, man, because there's not enough people to milk the cows, Lou. So, do I agree the stock market's up and down with the whims? Yes, that part is true. Do I blame Joe Biden for the 6 million immigrants? No, I wish as a nation we could come together and embrace those people, because we need the dues. We need the labor force. We need the workers, Lou. And you're going to see a big old jobs report tomorrow, and you're going to wonder, where the next run of American workers coming from, Lou? Because it ain't you, fella, right? It ain't you. Stick around. Raised in the Wisco, Maggie Daun is next.